Hi, I'm Taryn. Welcome to Most Fashionable Crime in Less Than 10, which is a brief video kind of going over my podcast, Most Fashionable Crime. So be sure to listen to that podcast before you watch this video. This is the 8th episode of the podcast, and in this podcast, I am talking about unpaid internships. The theme of the season is thievery. In every episode, I talk about a thief or an occurrence of thieving. So to me, unpaid internships is a crime because it's unpaid labor and it's essentially time theft. So I open up the podcast talking about my experience doing unpaid internships, and then I go into how potentially Mary-Kate Olsen and Ashley Olsen, who are the designers and founders of The Row, which is an amazing fashion label, how they had something going on that essentially possibly has made unpaid internships a thing of the past. So be sure to listen to the podcast to get all the information on that. In this video, I'm going to talk about unpaid internships and why I think they exploit people that are really some of the most vulnerable people when it comes to the workplace. So of course, what is an internship? So the definition of an internship is the position of a student or trainee who works in an organization, sometimes without pay, in order to gain work experience or satisfy requirements for a qualification. So a lot of programs at different colleges require an internship in order to graduate. Mine did. And I want to say there was a option for people where an unpaid internship was absolutely not an option for them, where they could maybe work for that work as an internship and get paid, and then maybe do special projects for whatever companies. So say they were a retail associate, maybe they could work during that time period and just do special projects. So a lot of why unpaid internships are not helpful is because, especially if you work in fashion, most of the internships are going to be in New York City or even Los Angeles or even in Paris. Internships, especially fashion internships, which was required for my major, are really hard to come across outside of those two major cities. So essentially you either have to work really hard up until that point so you can afford to live in that city for 4 months, or you just have to hope you get a paid one, or you have friends or family that can help you out. Also, when it comes to other majors, like if you're in finance consulting, you might find internships that are actually paid, which is great. So I'm all about paid internships because I just feel like if you as a person need an intern, then you need to be able to pay that person because they are helping you make money in your company. You see what I'm saying? So having additional people in your company can bring you a lot more money than if it was just you. That's how I see it. And if that's not the case for you, you need to figure things out. But moving forward, so I want to talk about in this video how, because a lot of brands, companies, etc. know that internships are required for people to graduate, and a lot of times you need your degree in order to get a job, that they know that you have to do these internships, so they mistreat you in a multitude of ways. So that can mean making you work long hours, barely having time to eat during the day, just overall mistreating people, instances of workplace bullying, harassment, that kind of thing. So I feel like when it comes to internships, there definitely needs to be a change in how people are treated, because interns are your employees. They should have the same rights and everything as everybody else entering your company. So essentially a lot of interns are made to kind of work in a toxic environment. I remember when I interned in New York City, one of my co-interns, I guess, she was a student at FIT, and so of course they were all over at some of the most major fashion labels, and they'd be working until 10 p.m. At one of the internships I did, I got a $12 stipend for lunch. In New York City, what is that gonna do? Like, I can go get a bag of chips. And they honestly forgot to give me the stipend. Like, I would have to remind them, like, hey, you didn't give me the stipend. So anyways, I mentioned how I consider it to be a crime because it's unpaid labor. And then on the other side, they know you have to complete the internship. So they know you'll deal with whatever comes your way because you have to complete this internship in order to graduate. And honestly, a lot of times the name of the company looks so good on your resume, and they might even offer you a job. Or even if you just have the name on your resume, you will likely be able to get a job at any fashion company that you wish. Not really, but essentially it looks great on your resume, so they know that you have to appease them and try to work to get your recommendation and all of that stuff, which to me breeds toxicity in an environment. So I think unpaid internships might not be exactly criminal. And the way I see it as, when you start at a company, usually you do some type of training and onboarding. So essentially that's doing the same for an intern. They are doing training and onboarding and learning the ways of your company. They have the knowledge usually. They know what they're doing because they've been in school for it, and they're just applying it in a way that's functional and hands-on. So they know what they're doing. They just need to have that guidance and training. So if you bring on a new employee, you still train them on the job. So why would you not train and pay your interns? So like in my internships, I did business plans, so ways for the company to bring in money, and I did long-term and short-term, so things they could have done the next day in order to bring money into it. And so like I didn't see any of that. Going into how like whether it's a crime or not. So an internship usually lasts about 4 months. So if you especially are someone that is low income, or you might be trying to pay your way through college, or you had to take out loads of debt to get through college, this would really hurt you in the future, because not only are you taking about 4 months of your time working full time, you'll probably have to add on a side job in addition to your internship to have money coming in. And then once you leave that internship, if you're not offered a job, or if you're not having success finding a job immediately after you graduate, you're already like back into the hole, because you spent most of your time not being able to make money, when typically, like if that might have been your situation, you might have been going to school and working a part-time job. And I will say that it will be hard to try to come back from that when you know you're gonna graduate with debt and have to pay that in whatever amount of time, if you even want to do that. I think interning is beneficial, but I feel like there is a way that you could at least pay someone $15 an hour in order to work from you, especially at these mega companies that have loads of money. Absolutely. And if you are a small business person wanting to have an intern, you need to figure out how to pay that person. It might be in the form of a stipend, like a monthly stipend, which like that's okay. So you might get $300 a month, or like $100 a month, which might cover, if you're in New York, might cover a monthly pass for MTA. So who really knows? I'll conclude this video by saying internships are great, but I think the nature of them, of course, a lot of them being unpaid, a lot of the brands knowing that you have to complete it to graduate from college, it can be very toxic and it can exploit people. So I feel like there definitely needs to be changes when it comes to that, because I feel like it's important, no matter where you are in a company, for you to be treated as a person. So let me know in the comments what you think about unpaid internships. Do you think they're, I don't want to say criminal, because technically they're not a crime, but what do you think about them? Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to check out the Most Fashionable Crime podcast. I will link everything in the description. Please make sure to like this video, share it with anyone that you think is interested in fashion-related true crime, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos. Thank you again.